Cool. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm founder and CEO of Fovus. We are an AI-powered serverless high-performance computing platform. And today I'd like to share with you some insights about how you can supercharge your computational drug discovery and accelerate your DMTA cycles using our platform. Before the talk, I wanted to do a quick poll. By show of hands, how many of you are working on computational approaches or work with any colleagues or partners who's working on computational or AI-based drug discovery? Okay, I see many of you guys. Great, I think we're in the right room then. So definitely, I think computational approaches, especially AI, is being increasingly adopted in early stage drug discovery. And these are some market research analysis show that 50 to 70% of biotech companies are actually utilizing these approaches. And just in recent years, more than 200 startups were founded in specializing using these approaches in their drug discovery. And what's interesting is that these kind of efforts require huge computational power, HPC power, high performance computing power to support them. So our customer data actually shows that a computational cadence on average on per user basis has 20 times higher HPC usage in terms of CPU core and core hours and GPU core hours as comparing to a simulation engineer who's designing very complex engineering system in the engineering industry. Isn't that amazing? 20 times higher. So I guess you guys are really pushing the boundary really hard. So as a result, HPC also plays a vital role in early stage drug discovery. And cloud has been the top choices for cloud HPC for many biotech companies, especially for early stage companies, because of the low cost of ownership for capital efficiency, the high elasticity for business agility, and the timely infrastructure upgrade in the cloud so that you get timely access to state-of-the-art hardware, right? And also the high accessibility, availability, and security, which provides the ideal support for remote working and collaboration. However, I think cloud HPC is a double-edged sword in the sense that these great benefits come with great challenges. And in fact, many of these benefits actually are buried behind these challenges, so that if you don't address these challenges, you can barely realize those benefits actually. And let me dive into this and explain what do I mean by that. So first of all, cloud is still pretty complex. Computational scientists, they are, domain experts with often with very little cloud experience or expertise. So managing these cloud logistics and complexity is very time consuming and distracting to them. You really want to spend your valuable time, right, on science and discovery and innovation rather than dealing with these cloud hustles. Second, cloud offerings are increasingly diverse and heterogeneous. Look at how many choices you actually have in terms of your hardware choices and hardware configurations that you can get to launch the same discovery workload just on AWS. And not mention, there are multiple cloud service providers out there. So literally you have thousands of choices out there. So the question here really is, what is the optimal strategy here? So which is the cheapest and fastest option for me to run each of my discovery workload? Unfortunately, there's no transparency here. Nobody actually has any transparency into this strategy space and this problem. So as a result, without the proper strategy, you often experience long time to insight, and you experience high cloud expenses, cloud HPC expenses with your computational drug discovery. We've heard that complaints a lot, especially with the GPU workload. And also, cloud is changing all the time, right? It's constantly changing. So with fast evolving cloud infrastructure, complex pricing dynamics, it makes sustaining your strategy and your optimality basically a constantly moving target. It's really challenging to do. Look at how many new instance types was introduced just in last year on AWS. And this is actually the beauty of cloud HPC, but at the same time, this is also actually the challenges, because in theory, this is the beauty, but in practice, we're seeing a big gap and delay in terms of the practical adoption of these newer hardware, just because in reality, these computational scientists, they had a hard time just keeping track of these new upgrades, right? Not to mention understanding what these new instances mean to the performance and cost of their discovery workload. Nobody understands that. So as a result, they were not able to leverage these new infrastructure, very powerful hardware timely. So if you are facing similar challenges like I was, you must be looking for something different, and you're looking for something that can change the way that you power AI drug discovery. And what you're looking for is Fovus. So Fovus is the world's first AI-powered serverless high-performance computing platform. We actually use AI to get, optimize, and manage supercomputing power for you. So we actually use data-driven approaches, AI approaches, to automatically determine the optimal HPC strategy and for your discovery workload, and intelligently orchestrate all the cloud logistics in order to get the work done. So that not only we streamline your operations, cloud operations for computational discovery, but also to a no-brainer basically, but also we assure and sustain the time cost optimality of your discovery workload amid fast evolving cloud infrastructure. So as a result, you can say goodbye to all these cloud hustles and really focus on your innovation, right? And at the same time, enjoying the optimality and efficiency assurance here. So let me show you how it works from your perspective, from a computational scientist perspective. So with Fovus, all the jobs that you have to do is basically to deploy your workload, that's all. And we provide you a very intuitive command line interface and web interfaces so that you can deploy your discovery workload at a scale with just a single command in the CLI or a few clicks on the web UI, as simple as that. And that's all you have to do. And we take care of everything else. So after you deploy your workload, we do all the heavy lifting to get you the supercomputing power needed, and then to get your workload executed with a lot of optimization. Actually, we do a lot of optimization behind the scene to optimize your HPC operations. And here I'd like to highlight some of the important ones here. So first, we actually auto benchmark your discovery workload for free to effectively explore your HPC strategy space in the cloud. And here we basically pack your workload into a micro benchmarking, right? And then we go ahead and benchmark against all different possible strategies in the cloud. And these strategies include your hardware choices and configurations, the number of CPU or GPU that you need to deploy your workload, your cluster size, in which region and zone to deploy, whether to use spot instances, everything, pretty much everything that matters to the overall runtime and cost for your discovery workload. We benchmark against those possibilities to effectively understand how those choices is going to impact the performance and cost for your discovery workload quantitatively. And with that benchmarking data, then we automatically determine, because now we have visibility, our algorithm now has visibility because of these data, right? And then we auto determine the optimal HPC strategy for each of your discovery workload according to minimize your runtime and cost. And this optimization is actually done in real time, in adaptive and dynamic fashion, according to the cloud availability and pricing dynamics, basically. So that you can, and also according to your preferences, you can actually define how much importance you want to place on cost versus time minimization, so that you're going to get a different optimal strategy for your timing critical workload versus your sanity check type of workload where only cost is the only thing matter. And for your license required workload, for example, this could be a Schrodinger or most of the ICM Pro docking workload that require commercial license. We actually auto balance your license usage because most likely you're sharing the same license pool among multiple users in the same organization. So we auto balance your license usage across multiple team members to maximize your team productivity. And also, we actually auto scale your cluster size and your computation automatically according to the license availability dynamics, as well as your desired license usage pattern. For example, you can define, say that I want my team to use no more than 80% of my licenses during working hours and use 100% during off hour. So you can reserve some licenses for the entirety of work your team do during the day and scale up really to the max for your overnight and over weekend runs to best accelerate your insight delivery. And for license-free workload, like your AI models, customized code, in-house, open source frameworks that you do for your computational drug discovery, we monitor the availability dynamics across multiple cloud regions and zones to understand where you have the best availability. And then we kind of distribute your computation across these cloud regions and zones as needed, according to the best availability that we see, right? So that we can really massively parallelize your computation to further minimize your overall time to insight by over 100 times. Also, as very important optimization for your cost, to reduce your cost, we also auto leverage spot instances, preemptible resources in the cloud. We actually analyzes your expected saving according to the availability and pricing dynamics of these spot resources, preemptible resources. And also, since we have your benchmarking data, we understand what's going to be your runtime. We can predict what's your runtime if you're going to run those discovery workload using these different strategies. And according to their interruption probability, the runtime prediction, we analyze those expected saving, right? And then based upon that analysis, we automatically choose the optimal spot strategy to distribute your workload across these different zones and regions to further minimize your cloud expenses by another 2 to 7 times, while assuring the integrity of your results with failover capability. If any of these runs with spot instances gets interrupted because the cloud service provider reclaim the resources, that's the feature. That's how it works with spot instances. We're gonna automatically requeue your computation and then find another best strategy at that time. We analyze everything until you get all the results. And last but not least, we auto update your benchmarking data as well as continuously, based upon that, continuously improve your HPC strategy as there's new hardware rolled out in the cloud, as the cloud infrastructure quickly evolve. And this is exactly how we tackle the issue here, right? This is exactly how we can make sure that your team can always best leverage the state-of-art of hardware to stay ahead of the game without you needing to do anything or changing anything in your workflow. We basically automatically detect those new hardware, understand what they mean for your workload in terms of time and cost, and we see there's an improvement, we automatically migrate your strategy to them, running your workload. So what's the real world impact? Many of our clients are seeing remarkable results with Fovus. I'd like to share with you some brief case study. So ChemSpace, the largest chemical compound database, also leading service provider, accelerated their DMTA cycles and deliver project faster at a reduced cost by using Fovus. As a prior solution, they were managing their own cloud HPC environment with AWS. And they were facing some challenges in terms of finding the right strategy and scaling up their GPU infrastructure, because GPU is kind of hard to get today in the cloud if you don't have a good strategy to scaling them up. But with Fovus streamlining their operation, providing all these optimizations, we were able to reduce their, so previously they were, for their large scale compound screening workload, it would take 4 weeks of time to get all the results without proper scaling, and they would pay $5,000, more than $5,000 on AWS. And with Fovus streamlining everything, optimizing everything, we reduced that runtime from weeks to just 6 hours, while cutting down the cloud expenses by 85%. So allowing them to operate more efficiently and deliver project faster. And we're seeing a similar success with many other biotech clients. And here's another example of a biotech startup who's also managing their own computational pipeline, which is pretty heavy with AWS. And they were facing challenges, similar challenges in terms of choosing the right strategy and scaling up their infrastructure, because they're doing really large scale, high throughput virtual training with docking with AI accelerated approaches. But for a small discovery project that they have that involve multiple DMTA cycles, it took them in a total of 24 days in terms of computation time to get pretty much everything, all the results. And it cost them more than $20,000. And with Fovus streamlining and optimizing everything at a workload level, as you can see, we were able to reduce their workload runtime from days literally to hours. In this case, this is only 30 minutes to get all the results by scaling up, really massively scaling up their computation across different regions and zones. And at the same time, we're reducing, significantly cutting down their cloud expenses from thousands of dollars per run to the hundreds by 5 to 8 times. So overall, accelerating their DMTA cycle by 4 times at 1/5 of the cloud HPC expenses, allowing them to discover much faster and at a much bigger scope at a reduced budget. So we are trusted by industry leaders, not only in biotech, but also across industries. We also help the world's second largest heavy equipment manufacturer actually migrate 100% of their production workload in the engineering side to the cloud, and accelerated their digital innovation productivity by 30%. So basically, we help them change the large capital expenses into small variable costs and allowing them to bring product to market faster. Okay, so overall, here's the key benefits at a glance. So Fovus can free up your time and boost your productivity, basically. You can expect to get 1 more day per week, more time to focus on innovation. These are the time that previously lost in dealing with cloud hustles, now is available for innovation. Fovus also help you reduce your computational time to critical discovery insights by over 100 times, reduce that by over 100 times, from weeks or days to hours, right, which helps you accelerate your DMTA cycle. And Fovus can also free up your budget, your computational budget, will help you reduce your cloud expenses with all these optimization by 5 to 10 times. So to make your computational discovery affordable at scale. So imagine what you can do if you can free up 80% of your computational budgets and 20% of your team's time. Okay, to summarize, so Fovus is the world's first AI-powered serverless HPC platform. We provide intelligent, scalable, affordable supercomputing power at your fingertips to supercharge your computational discovery, accelerate your DMTA cycles, and to help you achieve more with less. And many of our clients are actually seeing great success with Fovus, and we can help you achieve the same. So right now we're actually offering free trial with white glove onboarding with a limited number of customers. So to get started, you can visit our website, fovus.co, to schedule a meeting with us. And we also have a booth presentation at 6:05. So please come and visit our booth. We can answer any questions that you have and help and discuss how we can best help. With that, I think thank you so much for your attention. I'm ready to take questions.
Thank you very much, Fengbo. Any questions, anyone in the audience? No, I actually had a question. Sure. You didn't mention it, security. Yeah. How do you deal with security? People putting the information on your cloud?
Yeah, very good question. So, so first of all, you can go and Google and do some research on cloud security, and you would find that there has been a consensus reached by a lot of the industry that cloud actually is more secure than most of the on-prem infrastructure that most companies build, and it boils down to the fact that rarely a company can afford the same amount of financing or staffing resources to work on security, to secure their data center and data in the same way that these cloud service provider provides. But to get back to your question, so with Fovus, we actually, first of all, we create a independent workspace and cloud account for each of the customers. And for every user's, every workload is going to be launched within a virtual machine where you occupy those resources 100%. And there's very strict isolation on your I/O, on your data and everything for any of the computation resources that you launch and put computation on. But in addition to that, because of the independence of each account, each cloud environment, you get a virtual network that is fully isolated from anyone else. Within whatever the resources within your workspaces. And also every user have its own storage bucket that is, again, is independent account without authentication. No other user, even in the same organization, will be able to access those data. But we also make it very easy for you to share your jobs, share your results, share your data for collaboration purposes with strict permission control that you can manage.
I'd like to give other people an opportunity to ask questions. If not, I could just keep asking you questions. I mean, we've got like a few more minutes. You're a CEO of your own company, obviously, yeah. I guess. What stimulated you to start this company? And some of the examples you gave, obviously, were not in the drug discovery pharma space. So you sort of started in one place and then you're branching out. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Give us a little bit more insight into why you started the company.
Sure, that's a good question. So I'm actually a professor at ASU. I used to do research, but my background is in semiconductor. I'm a HPC user. I use simulation to design semiconductor chips. Very complex system, right? Similar to drug discovery. But the reason why that I started this company is because when I was back at ASU, we built our own HPC cluster infrastructure from MATLAB. We spent a whole bunch of money. I remember we spent $8,000 to purchase the state-of-the-art GPU back in 2015. $8,000 just for one GPU card. We bought a whole bunch of them. It was state-of-the-art at the time. But 3 years later, it was 2 generations behind. And I remember my students was complaining. They were actually not using the GPUs anymore. And I asked them why. They were saying that, oh, where we were doing AI training, this performance can barely beat the performance of my gaming GPU card, which is $800 on my computer. So that's just how quickly hardware evolves, right? You cannot keep up with those changes. You're maintaining those things, and that really make me believe migrating out of workload to the cloud is the way to go. But we actually tried. We tried out the existing solution out there. We tried native AWS offering. And we failed to adopt because of all these challenges that we mentioned, because we are not, software developers. We are domain experts, right? So these are too complex for us to manage. We actually failed to adopt. And later on, I heard a lot of these complaints across multiple different industries. When we started to talk to industry people, I heard the same complaint, which really resonated with me. I experienced the same pain firsthand. And that's how I decided to found this company. And while we're engaging more customers, we started talking with people in engineering, bioscience, biotech. And we learned that in this particular industry, biotech, bioscience, but pharma, you guys are really pushing to the boundary really hard. You guys have, like I said, 20 times higher computational need when you're launching those highly exploratory computational work for drug discovery. It's much, much, much more computationally intensive than like the engineering industry. And we wanted to support you guys.
Thank you, Fengbo. That's really enlightening. I could just, but I'm not going to keep asking you questions. I just think as an entrepreneur, you found a need, you found a niche for this particular company, and then you started it. I guess the last question I would ask is, how did you fund it? I know as a founder myself, it's really hard to get money. Did you go after small business grants, or did you just self-fund, or did you get angels? How did you do it? Yeah. Promise you, last question.
No, these are good questions. And I'll be around, by the way, so feel free to come to me if you wanted to chat in person. But initially, we actually got a big check from a Fortune 500 company 2 months after incorporation, because we were showing them what we wanted to build. And we got one of them actually told us that we've been looking for something like this for a while, but we cannot find them. Do you have that? We wanted to try tomorrow if you have. We told them that we can build it, right? We're a startup. That was a couple of years ago. And they actually write us a big check, say, go ahead and build it, and we want to try it when you have it. That's how we actually funded our initial development. But later on today, we already are venture-backed company. We have a very mature product that was adopted by many of these companies across different industries, including Fortune 500 companies. But we're already venture-backed. We have a couple of institutional investors that back us. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Fengbo.
Sure. Thank you so much for your question.
No, great. Thank you very much. Thank you for sticking around.